Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Be Lead podcast. My name is Gavin, and I'm going to be the podcast lead for this year. We are meeting with the Why podcast today, and we're going to find out what they do and why they made the podcast in the first place. And I'm very, very excited for my first question. What inspired you to create the Why podcast?
We really wanted this podcast to be a thinking partnership and honor building community. Honestly, we didn't want Elite X to end. And so we selfishly wanted to continue the conversation. And so that's kind of why we created it.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I was wondering if somebody else could also answer the question. I'm trying to get answers from everybody so I could piece it all together. It would be interesting.
Yeah, so sorry, I'll chime in real quick. We clocked a lot of hours going through the Elite X program, and it was really meaningful. And we just didn't like it. It was kind of heartbreaking to think of those conversations just ending. Like it was so valuable for all of us. I know we all grew as people, not just educators, but as people. And we just really wanted to keep the conversation going and keep it alive, kind of just carry it on, kind of carry the torch on. So that was sort of the inspiration, I guess, as far as I can put it.
Yeah, and to give some context, Elite Academic Academy has what's called the Elite X Fellowship. And this is a fellowship where educators are participating in these dialogues around looking at our practice, our educational practice, and making sure that we're challenging ourselves to give the best strategies to support students in an ever-changing future, right? We can't predict what the future is going to look like for each of you, but we do know that there's qualities that will make you successful no matter what the future looks like. And we want to make sure our instructional strategies, the way we facilitate your educational practice or your educational participation, supports you in developing those characteristics. And we call that the portrait of the learner. It's what all of us are striving to support you in.
Very, very interesting. I am a part of the Elite Flex 8X ELA division of that. And I got picked last year because, I had the academic standards that they wanted for that class. And I really, really like the class because we actually recently did a presentation for the directors for all of our business proposals of what we wanted to happen during the year. And I feel like Elite X is so interesting, and there's so many bits to it. It's very, very cool. Now we're going to move off to our next question, and I appreciate everybody who answered. Thank you.
Question 2, how do you define the Why podcast?
Yeah, so as Nolan was kind of elaborating on the Elite X program, was definitely the springboard for the Why podcast. And when we were in all of those many hours going through the Elite X fellowship, we basically were challenged to kind of reimagine education. Like there's a lot of things about the way that education is going and has gone for years that isn't working, but a lot of schools continue to use that model that isn't working. So we were really challenged to push ourselves to just reimagine this whole education thing where the student is the leader and the teacher is stepping back. And so that is like really like the heart of it really is having conversations. The Why podcast is all about having conversations with different teachers who have gone through the Elite X fellowship and what are they doing in their everyday practice to kind of shift education as we have known it historically to where Elite kind of has our vision of it going, where students are more taking the reins and taking the lead on their education, and teachers are stepping back and just facilitating that because you guys have everything that you need to be successful and to really own your own education.
If I could step in there, I just want to say I really appreciate that you guys are looking forward with education because with public schools specifically, nothing has really changed in centuries, to be honest. So I think looking at it with through a new lens is very helpful to students and teachers alike.
It's really
I
exciting
appreciate
when
that.
students want, and they recognize that education needs to change and that you are at the very helm of changing that. And for us as individuals and educators, it's really important to know the educator, we have to know our why, but then it trickles all the way down to for every lesson, for every encounter that we have with students, what is the why for that moment? And so that's another aspect of the why.
It's a space where these incredible educators, I mean, Sarah Zitney, Derek Nelson, Sean Bunn, just to name a couple, we would have these fellowship meetings. There was a portion of it where we would get coaching on our particular practice. We'd identify something we wanted to start doing in our sessions, our meetings, to help improve, to help unlock the portrait of the learner for students. And we would come back after working on these strategies, and we would come to a whole group meeting, and there would just be these incredibly inspirational stories. Teacher after teacher would tell these amazing stories about incredible things students were doing. And this is a place where we can continue to have teachers or educational facilitators share those stories about the incredible things that students are doing in their sessions.
You know, I was very interested in the Why podcast because I saw a lot of my favorite teachers were on there. Even though I'm not kind of taking their classes yet, I got to see all of them talk about what they love doing the most. And I think that's really cool because having a podcast just for that is very, very inspirational for a lot of teachers out there as well. Teachers and the parent for sure. So yeah, I really appreciate that. I'm gonna move it on to the the third question. Um, and I do not know who's taking that question. Go ahead.
Question 3. What goes into
It's
planning an episode of the Why podcast?
So it starts with we just talked about all these incredible teachers, and I named some. We have a list of incredible teachers that have inspired us, and we reach out to those those educational facilitators, and we just say, hey, we're interested in you being on the Why podcast. Now, again, our goal is to give them a platform for them to share their stories. So it's driven by their interests. If they say, yeah, I have time, I'm interested, I want to do it, then it looks like this. We say, what do you want to talk about? What would you like to speak to? Every episode you've seen, that person is fired up by that idea and wants to talk about it. Once they tell us what their topic is, we sit down and we plan questions to ask them. We give them those questions for their approval. Once they're happy and excited and feel like these questions are going to let them share their story or their strategy or whatever they want to share with us and with the audience, we just schedule it. And then from there, I'm going to pass off to DL, our like guru, editing guru, and artistic extraordinaire. She takes care of the hard stuff.
So after Nolan does all the hard work of securing our guests and we meet and go through the questions and refine them, then I make sure that the scenes are set up and I use Ecamm Live. I don't know if you've heard of that. I use that software to set up the scenes that change. You see them change a little bit. You see our jingle that Mr. Nelson and his class wrote for us, and we love that. We love bopping to it at the beginning and at the end of every episode. But really, it involves just sound checks, making sure everyone has some kind of headset so we don't get the feedback through the speakers. And then it's just editing a little bit after and then sending it off to Mr. Nolan Smith.
And I'm just going to chime in. Oh, if it's okay.
No, you're all good. You're all good. John.
I just wanted to add in like collaboration, like for us is everything. Like, so from that list that Nolan, Mr. Hutton mentioned that we brainstormed, like that was all us three meeting and putting our three heads together. And that's where everything has always started. Even just the inception, the idea of this podcast was us in a room together, putting our heads together. And yeah, magical things happen when we get together.
And DL's being modest about the editing. I have a tendency to ramble and do random stuff that she has to cut out later, but she's a pro.
She's a pro. Absolutely. Thank you, DL, for all you do.
I think that's really cool though. how everybody has their own jobs as well. Our podcast has the exact same thing where we all have different jobs in maintaining order. Like, I am the lead, so like I make sure everybody stays in order, stays like in good discussion. Really, just like a discussion manager, if you really think about it. And Mr. Smith is here just to make sure I don't go nuts. And yeah, and then we have all of our podcasters here that are here to talk and join into the conversation. And then we have our editors, which are very, very awesome students. And talking about changing scenes and stuff, I think that's very, very cool to mention because I do have my own software to do that as well. I could put Mickey the Mouse on the screen here, or I could do a couple of other things. They're movie magic. So, yeah, no, definitely really cool. I'm going to pass it off to Genevieve for our fourth question.
So, what have you all learned from educators through these conversations you have?
One thing that I've learned is the best educators are always asking themselves, why am I doing this? And so when Mr. Hutton was talking about, when you see them, they're talking about their topics that light them up, that really get them excited. And so that's part of finding out why they're doing it. But really, the educators and ourselves were modeling what we want our students to do, which is exhibiting and modeling metacognition. So the educators are really showing us what they're thinking about and why, and what in discovering that. And so that's what we want for our students as well. Thinking about your thinking.
Right. And I'll add to what DL said, with I feel the most effective educators are letting the students lead. And that's at the forefront of everything they're doing is they're thinking about you guys and how can you guys take the lead on your education? How can you have more choice than you've ever had in maybe your previous educational setting? They're working very hard to create opportunities for choice and for students to take ownership over their own education.
So we've had, I mean, that question, like, what have you like? We've had so many rich conversations. We've talked about student agency, productive struggle, expectation and equity, student engagement, innovation, AI in practice, understanding student story, cultivating creativity, family engagement, future ready skills. We've had so many rich conversations about, I don't know, just things that you could talk about for hours, and you can take so much from it. Lucy Hutchinson, friend and colleague, I hope I get the story right, but she took the Y podcast and she was looking for like delineating factors that we could kind of like analyze and look into and see if we could develop. And she put it into some AI tool, I don't know which. But one of the interesting things that came out, one of the results was that like elite educational facilitators utilize a huge variety of strategies, methodology to support student engagement and student success. But one common factor that an AI tool recognized was that elite educators love what they're doing. We are deeply engaged. And it's not just like elite educators, elite, like students, educators. This is a school of choice. The people here love what they're doing and are deeply engaged. And that's like a beautiful thing. When people are interested and excited, amazing things happen. And it's just keep, like, the world's not going to stop changing, so don't stop engaging.
Thank you very much for answering that question there. I think it's very, very interesting. Definitely what you guys have learned from all of these wonderful educators that have gone up. And I really like that statement where they're good educators, very, very good educators, if they let the students lead. And that let the student mind go wild. And I really appreciate that. Obviously with boundaries, but yes, I appreciate that. We're going to move on to the next question, and the Nowlans are going to answer this one, so thank you for that.
So, how does the Wide podcast reflect Elite's mission and approach to education?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and answer that one. So there's definitely an effort to keep, kind of like I said, just like keep these conversations about the elite mission going. And really what the mission is is have you guys, and hopefully you're familiar, but maybe you're not, with the elite portrait of a graduate. Have you guys ever heard of that? So like that's basically at the heart of what our conversations are about. Is just what are the things that our teachers that are out there are doing in their everyday practice to really manifest the portrait of a graduate coming to life in each and every one of you, like by the time that you graduate from elite. And I don't know, DL or Nolan, if you have anything to add to that, but really we just wanted to keep the conversation going. I think it's important to the evolution of our school, right? Like we want to continue to engage and make elite the best it can be. And you can't really do that without conversations and keeping a dialogue going. So it really is a platform for us to have a dialogue. Yeah, just to keep the mission going and to learn from each other as educators, how, yeah, learn what each other are doing because we're all isolated, right? We're all on Zoom, so we're pretty separated. So this gives us a place to come together and discuss what we're doing in our everyday teaching practice. But yeah, DL, Nolan, I don't know if you want to chime in.
Yeah, I think evolution was a really key word. From like leadership of elite identified early on, and Genevieve, you talked about it. The school system in some ways is very stagnant. And we need to look towards the changing future, like what careers look like in the future. Now, elite leadership recognize we can't necessarily predict to a T what exactly it's going to look like for you guys in 2050. But we can predict that there's going to be change. And again, there's those cornerstone qualities in human beings that are unique to humans that we can accentuate and develop and promote, so that no matter what it looks like, you guys are ready to like engage and handle it. And I think that's what we're looking for. Those qualities and understanding that the world is dynamic and complex, but we can promote successful humans that have these qualities. If we keep engaging in this discussion. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I got inspired, sorry, and I got excited by what you were just saying. And the word empowerment came to mind from what you were just saying. And I think that's at the heart of the elite or the Y podcast is how can we help each other as teachers to empower you guys to find your why and to find what intrinsically motivates you and gets you excited to learn and gets you excited to excel and gets you excited about life, really, like about engaging in the world. So I just wanted to add
part of that portrait of learners being curious and collaborative. So if students are able to master that and think about their thinking, then it doesn't matter the changes that are coming, then our students are plenty capable of thriving in that change and making a change for everyone else.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate you guys coming on here and explaining what you think about Elite's mission. And ever since I've joined Elite, there's been a special place for literally anyone that I've seen so far. And seeing like you guys being able to talk to teachers and like teacher to teacher really and ask what they think about what's going on right now and then use that to change things for the student mind and the student body, so I appreciate that. Does anybody else, any podcasters, have anything else to say? Any questions for the Y podcasters?
I was just wondering if you can expand on what a portrait learner really is and why it is important to have these passive skills in our life, not just in our work, but in our life with other people.
Yeah, so 4 years ago, elite educators came together in person, and we looked at what the future is going to look like. And I mean, we looked at articles about different careers that don't even exist today that are going to exist tomorrow. And we started talking about what does that mean for our school and us preparing students. And then we started out this conversation about what are the qualities that are uniquely human, right? I mean, everybody, like AI has become this big like kind of changing force in our career landscape. And there are things that like content, there are issues that like once were important for us to kind of have a grasp of that are easy to get a hold of easily, right? Like content issues. But there's human qualities like curiosity, being a critical thinker, being an effective communicator, being compassionate, being a collaborator, and being creative. No matter what the landscape looks like, these are uniquely human qualities that an AI can't do for you, right? That you need to have so that you can direct the future in a way that's productive for human beings. And so we decided those are things that we are going to actively work towards. So we started backwards engineering. If these qualities are important, how do we create experiences in in classes that provide opportunities to develop or enhance those qualities, right? So we developed this pathway involving what's called the MAD Cs, and it's basically student experiences that can help kind of engage those qualities and develop them. And you see it in curriculum since educators have been involved in this. You've seen Elite Academic Academy creating its own curriculum, and many of these curriculums engage in these activities so that students can develop these. Yeah.
And I can elaborate on the MAD-Cs since we just dropped an acronym. I'll go ahead and just
thanks.
explain what the MAD-Cs stands for. So the M is meaning making, the A is asking, the D is doing, the C is collaborating, and the S is synthesizing. So if students are actively doing the MAD-Cs in any given activity, like we know that's a good sign we're doing the things that we want, that we would hope a student is doing, which ultimately will kind of fill out a portrait of a elite educator, right? If you get used to collaborating on a regular basis with your classmates, like it's going to be like you're going to be in the adult world. Collaboration is going to be so comfortable and so normal for you, and that's what you want. You want to be comfortable in those situations.
Honestly, it's very inspiring to see definitely other teachers jump onto your podcast and just talk about what they love doing the most.
Can I ask a question before we take off, and you can edit it in later?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to know. So, no, like you guys are amazing. You guys incredibly thoughtful questions, really good spontaneous questions that you added. You guys this has been a podcast for longer than we've had a podcast, and you've seen a couple of episodes. Do you guys have tips for us? Like, what could we like? I'm interested, like, to know what we could learn from you guys in terms especially of podcasting. I didn't even know what a podcast was when Morgan and DL mentioned it. They're like, we should do a podcast. I was like, what?
No, honestly, really things that and this is to anybody who wants to also have a podcast as well. I think it's just really as of maintaining order. We normally have a lot of kids on here, and it gets difficult at times, but they're awesome. And we also have teachers, and we have to always keep them in line, this, that. But, honestly, it's very, very cool. Definitely maintaining the 6 C's are a great thing in a podcast as well, regardless of whether you're in school or not. Also, another thing is very strong editing. Our student editors are very, very strong editors. And what I've seen from the Y podcast, you guys are pretty well at it too. Probably more experience than we could ever have. But yeah, no, it's really cool. Those are really the only things that I can really bring up then. But everything's been going pretty well for you guys so far. This is your first year, correct?
We started midway through last year. Is that right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly when we started, but I feel like we're probably around a year, getting close to a year.
I think we're approaching it.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. We're actually on our 5-year anniversary, which is very, very cool.
That's awesome. That's what it's about. That's Elite X right there.
Yeah. No, I love what Gavin said about just doing this podcast. They're engaging in the 6 C's like all the time. Like that's a beautiful thing. You guys are doing it. It'll be for fun. That's the best.
I really appreciate you guys for coming on here and talk about what you love doing the most. And, I really appreciate it. I'm going to be moving us on to our outro. Thank you guys for coming, and thank you guys for watching the podcast. Please go check out the Why podcast on the YouTube channel. They're very interesting. You should go check it out, even if you are a parent or teacher in another school. It's very, very cool, and I've watched a few of them myself, and I think they're very interesting. Also, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go watch our social media. We probably have posted a couple more times on there. I don't even know the handles anymore. There's so many of them. But yeah, no, thank you guys for coming. Come and like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.